There we go.
All right. Good evening, everybody. I want to welcome everyone to the General Committee meeting, the first one of the year, January 9th, 2024. And I would like to do a roll call. I am the Chairman, Lee Peterson, Alderman from Ward 2.
Go this way. Bob Garza, Ward 3.
And our Vice Chair, Mr. Waters from Ward 6, is unavailable to make tonight. But we've got Jason.
Yeah, Jason Gallo, Administrative Services Director. Oh, we'll go down the
Mayor Jamie Cleary.
Keith Reed, Planning Director.
Greg Story, Director of Codes.
Yes.
I'm David Storm. I'm here supporting my wife, who's with Silver Fox Stitches, Elizabeth Storm.
Okay, glad you're here. And did anybody else need to sign in to speak tonight for citizen comments? Okay, Jay.
Jay Riddick, Economic Development and Community Planner for the city.
Janet Garton, Ward 5 Alderman.
Terry Goodwin, Ward 4 Alderman.
Andy Gilley, Parks Director.
Scotty Bush, Hendersonville Fire.
JP Finnegan, GIS Technician.
Greg Green, Senior Planner. Charles Lee, Citizen.
Mike Martin, Ward 2 Alderman.
Gregory Tidwell, Principal, Smith G Studio, here to answer any questions on the ordinance now.
Darylyn Bears, the citizen.
All right, welcome everybody. And I would like to call this meeting to order. And Mr. Garza, have you had a chance to
Yes.
look at the agenda?
Yes, I did. I looked at
Okay.
the agenda and all the minutes too from the last meeting.
All right, perfect. Do we have a motion to accept tonight's agenda?
I'll make that motion.
All right, I have a proper motion and I will second that. All those in favor of accepting the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that passes. And you also read the minutes as well.
Yeah, and I make I normally would abstain since I wasn't here, but I knew they were very important. I read them 2 or 3 times. So I would like to make a motion. We approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Okay, I have a proper motion and I will second that. All those in favor of accepting the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that is 2 ayes. And we have approval of the minutes from, that was December 12th, 2023. And next item is citizen comments. And we do have 2 that have signed up tonight. And that is Darylyn Ferris. Okay.
I knew you was going to call with that name.
All right. Well, welcome and thank you for coming.
Thank you. I'm speaking for the 2024-01 ordinance. I read in the Hendersonville Standard paper that I subscribed to, that I received last Friday, and I was just appalled at the fact that they were talking about tearing down Conway Twitty's home to do a construction for homes or whatever for senior citizens. I'm a senior citizen, so I'm really against this. I don't know how many of you all have lived here how long, but Conway Twitty did a lot of contribution to the city. If it wasn't for him, the Drakes Creek Park wouldn't be in the situation it is today. And also, I don't know, I just know people that worked with him that were ball players, little boys, years ago. He was very adamant about these children. He even bought a school bus, a small one time, because they was going to play in a tournament. He bought this bus, had it painted with their name all over it so they could ride like a parade, you know. And he was a wonderful person. He has done a lot of things for this city, but he's well known. And I think it would be a terrible thing to tear down his house because it's a monument to him and the city. And this city seems to be trying to be more Nashville. We don't need Nashville. We need to keep up what we've got here, take care of it, and remember these times, okay? That's all I got to say.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ferris. I appreciate that. Next on the list is Charles Lee. And ma'am, I'm sorry, would you state your address?
I'm
for
sorry.
me?
It's 109 Elisa Drive.
Thank you very much.
Uh-huh.
And Mr. Lee, you are next, and please state your name and address.
Yes, Charles Lee,
140 River Chase, Hendersonville. And first of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here. And I want to thank Mary Clary for his great leadership of our city, and Jana Garten, who's my great alderman and does a fine job. And
Can you speak over here?
we appreciate.
Stand over here so they.
Oh, well, I just soon not be seen.
Well, too late, you're in now.
Yeah. But I've kind of prepared some comments, and I can leave those with you. And let me just say, I kind of concur to a great extent to what the other lady said on the traditions of Conway Twitty. I've lived in this community 32 years, but before then, when I lived in Chattanooga, I brought my kids to Twitty City for Christmas, and still have a picture of us riding the camel and some of the things that we did, and I do feel for that. But I also know that things are going to change, and they have changed radically in the last 32 years since I've been here. I grew up in Lebanon, Tennessee. Certainly things have changed there since I have been here. I would encourage us to consider this proposal by TBN. I'm personally in favor of it. It's not ideal. I'm hoping that we could work with the TBN folks to preserve as much of Conway Twitty's legacy as we can, and still allow them to develop that property. We're not going to stop development of that property. The question is, what is going to be on that particular piece of property? And I highlighted just a few things that I hope we would consider. First of all, we have a direct knowledge of what it is to work with TBN and the people there. I think the mayor has been involved in working with TBN and others in the city, and they've been a good community partner. And I think we would want to encourage people of high moral and ethical character, and people that do a first-class sort of development to partner with us. I think it's great that TBN or any entity wants to heavily invest in our community. If they do what they're proposing, they're going to invest millions and millions of dollars. And in this particular case, the city doesn't have to put up a match. The state is not putting up a match. It will not cost taxpayers any money for this development to come about. This particular facility will offer cottage residential villas, which is something that would be very unique to our community. There's only a few of those communities, even in the entire mid-state area. And currently we don't have anything of that nature in our city. I always was interested when I was a part of the planning commission, and I had the pleasure of serving on our planning commission for 7 years, on the county's for 3 years, is what sort of jobs might this create? Well, this particular project will sustain jobs and create more jobs and create some unique partnerships, I believe, with our educational institutions, both our public schools, our private schools, as well as our higher education community. There'll be broadcast journalism positions. There'll be service and hospitality jobs. The office space could attract some corporate offices that would bring even more jobs to our community, which I know this council has always been focused on. What do we do to benefit the people here and keep people from having to drive to Nashville or somewhere else? The traffic studies indicate that the impact, there's always an impact when something's built, but the impact is minimum next to other things that could be developed in that particular property. And I think one very important thing is that TBN has helped to put Hendersonville on the map. We've gotten tremendous visibility throughout the Southeast. If you've ever been to a production on their facility, and they always ask, well, how many people are from here? How many people have come from other areas? And there are dozens and dozens of people at every production session that they have that come from outside of the area. So they're coming and they're staying here overnight and they're eating here and they're buying things, so that there is an impact there. And then first and foremost, we do know from every sort of economic development study that's ever been done, the way to create the best jobs is to work with existing industry and people that are already in the area. You can always do more there than trying to attract someone else to come in. So is the project perfect and what everybody would want or I would want? Probably not. But is it something that could be unique for our community, to offer our citizens something unique, something that will bring millions of dollars of investments? And I think many people, you know, the new studio that's being proposed in this particular plan will bring even more top-rate productions to our community and bring celebrities to Hendersonville that we might not ever get otherwise. So I know you'll do a great job. You'll consider all the things that have to be considered, but I would urge you to support this. And, oh, by the way, I'm not on anybody's payroll and nobody has contacted me. I'm just here because it looks like a great opportunity for us. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Lee. Did y'all want to sign up to speak tonight? Okay. All right. Okay, let's move on to our ordinances and resolutions. Our first one is sponsored by Alderman Martin, reading of ordinance 2024-01, an ordinance rezoning 32.37 acres located at Zero Music Village Boulevard on the south side of East Main Street between Bluegrass Commons Boulevard and Caudle Drive, and approving the TBN Music City preliminary development plan to govern the development of said property. Okay. We have heard two citizens speak on this tonight. And Mr. Martin, did you want to speak on this?
No, so it just came through. Thank you for presenting it. The planning commission actually had a tie vote, 4 votes for it, 4 votes against it. So I think the next stop is to come here. I think the recommendation is to not pass it. However, still goes on to BOMA and they can reconsider.
Okay, thank you. On page 12, I do have a correction to make. This second sentence, page 13, shows the landscape buffers. It says it's adjacent to Bluegrass Baptist Church. And I think it's adjacent to First Baptist.
That's correct.
So I just wanted to make a
It is First
clarification on that. Okay. And yes, Mr. Martin, thank you for bringing up that negative recommendation from the Planning Commission. And so I don't know how to discuss this without asking Keith Free to get his opinion on this project.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions. I think the folks that spoke earlier kind of outlined that, as well as what the alderman said on the vote. This is coming from the planning commission with a tie vote, which equals a negative vote of recommending denial of the project. Then what's before you is sort of the pass through to go to BOMA would be to recommend it with a favorable recommendation, a negative recommendation, or just a neutral pass through. But as was discussed earlier by folks, and there's a representative of the developer here as well. This is a mixed-use development, sort of playing on what TBN already has there with the Huckabee Theater and production facilities, and expanding that. And then with the other half of the property, doing some things with independent living that would have some levels of assisted living services with it. Then also a memory care facility there on that site as well. But I'd be happy to answer any questions that any of the aldermen had on that.
Okay, well, I'd like to start then.
Yes.
I watched the planning commission meeting, and a few people in the planning commission had the same reservations as this lady did about tearing down Conway Twitty's house. Now, I understand in watching the planning commission and listening to some of the people that it was damaged pretty badly in the recent tornado. I also know I've been living here since '87, and I've driven through the property a couple times, but I have close friends who were friends with Conway Twitty, and I don't think the developer has done enough to preserve the Conway Twitty legacy, because he's not just a country music star, he's a country music legend. And I would like to see, if possible, in the development, I don't want to call it a special place, especially since you're doing a recording studio. And that was his life, was recording and had some of the biggest hits of all time. I'm not against tearing down a house that may be not repairable. And I don't know that. I'm not by any means in construction. However, I've tried to visit most of the country music stars' places that were available. And I think that's when it should be available. As we become bigger and bigger, someone says it's not be Nashville. We're Hendersonville. We have the home of country music stars who's many of them lived here throughout the years. And I'd like to see a better proposal to preserve Conway Twitty's legacy on the property. And I'm not saying anything to do with the house. I'm saying I know we're going to do the Tweety Bird and the brick wall, and that's fine. But when I read up everything here, I'm comfortable with most everything here except that. But I'm not against the development.
And that can be something, as it progresses forward to BOMA, something certainly for the developer to take into account. But then also, as it would go to BOMA, then any different conditions or, hey, we'd like for you to address this in a more vibrant way and then define what that is, those things can be attached to the approval. And so the plan development itself can attach that. At this point, it's recommended denial from the Planning Commission, but they didn't really get into phasing. That's something that could be discussed at BOMA as well, is that tying, not only are you agreeing to do whatever the different things in regards to specifically to the Conway Twitty legacy, that might not be keeping the house, but might be doing more than just those basic things, then that can be tied to the plan development. And that could also be tied to phasing, where you need to do these other things with the production facility before you actually start construction on the other part. So that's something that is completely legitimate that could be done if it's a part of the approval, and tying that to it so that you can get that surety that the development won't move forward until whatever those key parts of it, would be. And so that could occur.
Can I speak on that?
Yes, you sure can.
So when I was on the planning commission, 98, I think it was 98 to 2006, we had a project come before us that was mixed use, apartments, offices, and restaurants. It was given approval by the board of mayor and aldermen, and apartments were built. We learned from that. I learned from that is that the phasing, as Keith has talked about, make sure that first phase is the uses that we want the most. And typically that's going to be offices or retail. If an applicant is serious about building all the phases, it shouldn't be an issue, possibly financially, but it shouldn't be an issue overall for them to build what is most appealing to us first.
And I would also just add, going back to what I said, and I know exactly what you're talking about, is if there's the Huckabee Theater there, and if I had my way, it'd be called the Conway Twitty Theater. And people are coming to that, and people will be coming for other uses. I would like to see Conway just, splashed up on the front of the page, just because he's too big in the music business to let his legacy just kind of disappear. That used to be where his house was. That's not good enough.
Are we not going to mention Hello, Darling? Never, I just dated myself.
Oh, I thought you were asking me out.
Keith, we do get a lot of these projects through the Planning Commission and BOMA, but this is assisted living, independent living, clubhouse, swimming pool, chapel, office buildings, expansion of the theater. That this is a lot to take on. And I will mention this publicly. I think Conway's house would be a perfect clubhouse, since that's part of the plan. If there was any way to preserve it if at all possible. But we could probably talk about this all night long. I think this is better discussion for BOMA to probably talk at length. Did we want to have the developer speak on this tonight?
He could speak on that, or the representative of the developer. I would encourage the developer, from what a representative from the developer, what he's heard this evening, is that when it goes to that first reading at BOMA, be prepared to come out of the gate with, hey, we've kind of heard what you're talking about the Conway Twitty legacy, and here's some extra things, to get that discussion started. So it's not, here's what we're going to do, and then BOMA starts kind of peppering all these different things. If they could kind of look at it a little bit deeper and come up with that, prior to that meeting, and even if you guys come up with something, we can try to get that in the packet for that meeting as well. So the aldermen have that in advance. We could do that.
Okay. Someone mentioned a traffic study. Has that been done on this property?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Also, has there been a market study that assisted living facilities are needed in this town? That there seems to be several right now in operation, and they're not able to fill all their spaces.
I believe they have, I think, and I think they might have a representative professional to address that specific thing, maybe at the next thing, from what I understand.
Okay.
Is that, Greg, does that sound
That's
right?
true. And the client, Frank Media, who,
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
my client, Frank Media, who, this is his development project, regrets he was not able to be here tonight. He had a death close to him, and he's actually come down with COVID. But he would be the one to answer those questions about the market and the market study.
Okay.
We do have civil engineering on board who has achieved the traffic study, so that is available.
All right. Thank you very much. Do we have any more discussion on this ordinance?
I just have one question for
Okay.
Mr. Martin. I tried to watch most of the planning commission meeting. I don't get fours and the four against. What were the major issues there? I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
The major issue was at the very end of the meeting, it became adversarial, in that if we didn't approve it,
I
then
saw
we'll
that.
leave.
I saw that. Okay.
That was probably
Thank
the
you.
main.
I agree with that. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Garza, how do we want to proceed with this?
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we take this ordinance 2024-01 to BOMA.
Okay. I have a motion to forward this to BOMA, and that's ordinance 2024-01. And this is TVN Music City property there at Twitty City. And I will second your motion. All those in favor of sending this to BOMA, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So that is moving forward to BOMA with a positive recommendation, even though Mr. Waters is unable to be here tonight to vote on that. Okay, let's go on to item number 2. That's resolution 2023-48, a resolution authorizing Silver Fox Stitches LLC, Elizabeth Storm, to use the city's logo on items produced for resale. Mayor, you're sponsoring this. Would you like to speak on this one?
Sure. About 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, we had somebody make a similar request to put the city's logo on some items that they were selling: hats, T-shirts, coffee mugs. We do require that. We own the logo. We appreciate the fact that somebody even asked, to be honest with you, instead of just doing it. And so this is the second request we've had. The first request ended up being denied by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, like I said, 2 or 3 years ago. But you see the family that's here that has made that request. I appreciate y'all considering it, and she can probably answer more questions than I can.
Okay. Do you know why that was denied? And was that the same vendor at the
It was not.
time?
It was not.
Okay,
One of the items that was mentioned was that the the uh, the request didn't have didn't have any royalties coming to the city. And if the board feels like, excuse me, if this committee feels like that's worthwhile, I'll prepare an ordinance to that effect. And excuse me, I'll prepare an amendment to that effect, and I'll have it ready for the board when we get there. I don't know if y'all want to go that way, but that was one of the items that was opposed.
So let me add to that if I may, Lee.
yes.
So thank you for asking for this. I'm from the apparel footwear industry. And when you have a viable logo, we're not Nike. There's usually a royalty involved. And it's usually not high, really, because you really want to do it in volume, not per unit. But I am one of the people that brought up that I'd like to see some type of royalty on our logo, since it's our own logo. And I think as we continue to grow, the growth of people wanting to wear the hats and t-shirts or whatever you put them on will grow too. So I am the proponent of adding a small royalty to this, but I am in favor of this.
We are absolutely not against having a royalty contract.
Okay, I know you probably pay some now for some other people, or possibly pay some for other people. Depends on how large you get.
Ms. Storm, do you do this for any other city?
At this time, no.
Okay,
We are a very new business.
all right. Well, we appreciate you wanting to help sell Hendersonville. Okay, well, I think we can send this to BOMA and let them ask more questions about royalty and licensing and things of that nature.
And I'm assuming I'm seconding that motion.
Thank you very much. I made a proper motion, and we got a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That has a positive recommendation for BOMA, and that will be moving forward. Thank you all for coming tonight.
Will this be the board meeting tonight or?
Be in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. Okay, item number 3. This is resolution 2024-01, a resolution to waive permit fees for properties damaged by the December 9, 2023 tornado. And Mayor Clary, this is your item. Hello.
Bad timing on my part, obviously.
And Mayor, I would like to
Wait a
co-sponsor this with you.
Okay. You want to talk about that? Or do they already do it?
I can.
Either one of y'all?
Yeah, Chairman Peterson, what this is a response from the city to give some relief to businesses and homeowners that had structures that were damaged that they're going to be replacing or repairing or restabilizing. Because every time they do those types of things, moving forward, they've got to get permits. And those permits are quite costly. Even just a few last month, we increased those fees. And then what we're proposing here with the codes department and the planning department, and with the support of the mayor, is to give relief to those businesses and homeowners, so that we want to encourage the reconstruction and building back of what was there. And if you're building back exactly what was there before, then for a building, then you won't have to pay the review fees and the building permit fees and the planning related fees, which could be quite substantial. Now, if someone's going to expand beyond or do something pretty significantly different, then they've got to pay the regular fee. But that would be something that myself and the codes director on those cases, we just put our heads together and figure out, is this something, what they're doing, is it going really too far, beyond the scope of the relief that we want to do. And we have requested also, and I think you'll see it tentatively on the BOMA agenda for tonight, that this is something we really want to get out and be able to start utilizing it. And so we're asking for the waiver of the 2-week rule for it to go to Boma this evening. We don't have anything in here. It hadn't been discussed, but this is just something that once this is approved, starting, if it's approved tonight, starting tomorrow, we'll be able to waive those fees, but it's nothing that we're looking at going retroactively for folks that maybe already got permits. It would just be moving forward.
Well, I think this is very timely and appropriate, so I appreciate the mayor wanting to do this.
I make a motion that we move this to Boma.
Okay, I have a proper motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, aye. That has a positive recommendation to Boma. And were you referring to that, Keith, as Build Back Better?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Make it great. Make it great again.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify.
Throw some royalties on that.
Okay, item number 4, it's reading of resolution 2024-02, a resolution to name the city dog park at Memorial Park, Sampson's Dog Park. Mayor, you are
I am.
sponsoring that. Would you like to speak on behalf of Sampson?
I didn't know Samson. I understand Samson was a good boy. This went through the process that we set up about a year and a half ago or so. Is that naming city facilities goes through our facilities naming committee. They recommended it, then it comes to the general committee, and then it goes to the board of mayor and aldermen. Currently, the dog park in Memorial Park is just the dog park. So this would make it Sampson's Dog Park.
I read Sampson's biography, so he's well deserving.
No,
No, I don't think auto, but
Okay.
and for those of you who don't know or didn't read it, he was a perpetual shelter dog. He never got adopted, so he lived in the shelter most of all of his life. So I think it's well deserving. It's easy for me to make a motion to just go to Boma. It's not rocket science on this.
And was that a unanimous decision from the naming committee?
Yes.
Okay, well, it sounds good to me.
No, it's not. It was one.
It was unanimous for the parks.
For the parks.
Parks board was unanimous. The naming committee was 2 opposed, but it passed like 5-2.
It did. Well, the 2 were other animal names.
There was a retired canine
Correct.
cop that had died, cop dog.
Police canine.
dog. So that was in consideration.
Right.
Sampson won out.
Yeah, I see that.
Well, certainly both dogs were worthy of the park in their honor. I'm just glad it's getting named. That is a step forward and another great use of our city park. I'm going to go ahead and make that resolution that we forward this to Boma, that we call the new dog park Sampson's Dog Park.
I will second that in this case.
All right, I have a proper motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that passes. Okay, all right, item number 5, it's a reading of resolution 2024-03, a resolution authorizing the planning department to create a sign grant program for Westlake Plan area. And Keith, would you like to tell us what this sign grant program is?
Yes, Mayor Clary is sponsoring this, and Jay Ritterbeck in our office of economic development, he is kind of he has spearheaded this project. And if it's okay with you, I'd like for Jay to kind of give an overview of what we're proposing.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. So what we are requesting is authorization from BOMA to create this program. We had in our fiscal year 23-24 budget an allocation in excess of what we're asking for here, which is $140,000 to devote towards this program. What we had envisioned during the Westlake Plan adoption was what could be some strategic money that the city could aim at the Westlake Plan area after it was adopted to spearhead some reinvestment in the area. And one of those was this sign program where where when you look through throughout the corridor, you see multiple non-conforming signs, particularly pole signs, that are not in conformance with our zoning ordinance. So as part of this program, what we're looking at doing is incentivizing the reconstruction of signs that are in compliance with zoning code, current code regulations. State law allows signs to retain their nonconformity and be reconstructed. And what we want to do is offer an incentive package to reduce the number of nonconformities, if not altogether eliminate them. So there's a range that we're looking at: a 50% match, up to 80% match of the signs when they're being reconstructed. And what we will be doing is inviting applicants to come in and working with staff to, one, determine what are the existing nonconformities with the previous sign that was destroyed by the tornado, and pretty much monetizing that. And like if you've got 5 nonconformities, eliminating 4 of them will get you 75 or 70%. It's working. So there's some negotiation that will be a part of this, but if we do up to the max of $10,000 with that 140, there's a possibility of at least 14 non-conforming signs that would be replaced with more conforming signs. So it's reinvestment, it's seed money, it's showing that the city is dedicated towards the West Main area, and really just initiating some of that reinvestment. So happy to answer any other questions.
One of the things I ran for alderman, was to help clean up Main Street, which hasn't been cleaned up ever yet. And one of the biggest issues, in my opinion, are the signs. And I think this is a fantastic program. And anytime, and some of these signs, I had a business in the town. My sign cost $3,000. It was conforming at the time, but a lot of startup businesses can't throw $3,000 at a sign. So if we can help that at all, it's a win-win.
I certainly like the incentive to work with the business owners and help them out. Now, this isn't mandatory where we're going to make them remove an existing sign, is it?
That's correct. We don't have that authority to require that.
We don't want to force someone to change their sign, but we would like to work with them and offer a grant to help them bring something up, maybe to codes or uniformity. But I don't want this to be a resolution where we're forcing
It's all
businesses.
all carrot, no stick.
Okay, perfect. All right. Mr. Garza.
Well, I'll make a motion that we move resolution 2024-03 to BOMA.
All right. As we have a proper motion, and I second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That has a positive recommendation to Bowman. All right. Number 6 is reading of resolution 2024-04, a resolution authorizing the handmade market to renew its use of the grounds of City Hall for its market activities. And Mayor, you are sponsoring this. They have been our guests for several years at City Hall, and they would like to continue their arrangement with the City Hall.
It has become incredibly popular. If you come by here on a Saturday when they've got, in fact, they now, some of these dates are Friday night, Saturday dates. They pack people in and they take care of the parking lot. They take care of the grounds.
Yeah.
By Monday, with the exception sometimes of the porta potty still being here, you can't tell there's anything that happened over the weekend. Very convenient for us in the way that we work with them. Danielle does an exceptional job, and she handles all the concerns and all the items that come to her from the vendors. We virtually do nothing.
And we charge her a fee to hold this event, correct?
We do. Don't ask me how much that is.
$200.
Okay.
And that's a custom event fee that we charge vendors that use our parks.
That's where so we asked parks to come up with a fee. I think it's different in parks, but we're also not providing restrooms, we're not providing cleanup, we're not providing really hurt anything. And so it was sort of born out of the fee that started with parks, but it's not the same as what we charge.
Okay. more of a convenience for us to allow City Hall to be used, City Hall's parking lot
Right.
used for the vendors and the residents to come to that event.
It's almost a reservation fee that she can say this is her date and nobody else has that date.
Okay, that sounds good.
If y'all see anything that you feel like needs to be changed or added, please let me know and I'll consider it for an amendment when we get to the board.
It's always well received.
Yeah. Now we have Casey, the city can know about it.
I just like having another opportunity for vendors to come in and sell their wares.
Especially smaller ones. These
Yes.
are ones that probably can't afford a bigger event.
But there's some real artisans that come. You know, the birdhouse guy is bad.
All right, well, we look forward to having them back. I'd like to make the resolution 2024-04 authorizing Handmade Market to renew its use for the grounds of City Hall, and let that go to BOMA.
Well, I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a proper second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Okay, that is it for resolutions and ordinances. How about other agenda items?
Mr. Chairman, can I mention one thing?
Yes, sir.
Sure, thank you. Last time you all met, I mentioned about the individual who received a letter from our staff about the use of the house that she was renting. And when one of the times that she spoke, I sort of leaned back and asked the general committee if y'all want to handle this, and it seemed like that was the most reasonable next step. We
I believe Mr. Waters
I think that's right.
offered.
And so we brought it up last time you all met, and she wasn't here. I feel like tonight was an opportunity. She's not here, so I can't speak on behalf of her.
Okay. Well, was there a complaint with the letter she received?
I know no more really than what we all put up
Okay.
there together. And I think that was her complaint, was the letter, but I suspect there might have been more.
Is it how the letter is written, or what? I wonder. I hate to
I'm
just
not sure.
speculate since she's not
I'm
here.
not sure.
Maybe we could ask her and
Her name's
maybe,
Lorraine.
Larissa.
Larissa.
'cause it's a form letter, correct?
Is it-
Okay, so it's a letter that is sent to everybody that it has a violation of some sort.
Did it come from y'all or come from y'all?
Zoning.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, well,
I'm sorry. Do you know what ward that is?
4 or 5, probably 4.
Not for sure.
I think 4.
I think we should involve the alderman in that ward too.
So down Anderson Lane, I'm pretty sure that's 4.
our city attorney's not here, but maybe we could forward him that letter and have him look at it and see if there's maybe some wording that could be cleaned up.
I'm happy
I don't have the letter in front of me,
I'm
so.
happy to do that.
Okay,
Happy to do that.
and that might have just been her complaint, was how it was written, or it's probably a letter that we've used for years and years, and no one's ever looked at it differently until now. So,
Well, she was breaking some codes though, correct? That's
Yes.
okay. I'd like to either meet with Lance and the deputies on this before we actually invite her in to speak, because I don't have the facts,
absolutely, yes. Having Lance review the letter is certainly the first step to take.
But I might mention, everything has been fully resolved at that site, so there's no.
At that site, yes.
There is no issue, so there's no issue.
And I think she told us at BOMA that she has applied for 501c3 status for her business. So we wish her well with that.
She has a new address now though, correct?
I'm not for sure.
She alluded to that
Yeah, okay,
in the last BOMA meeting.
okay.
So I think her frustration and passion was really based on the fact that after these things happened, we all just forgot about her. And I understand that. So, if we can help her understand, she doesn't have to like it. If she's doing something against our city codes, especially in a neighborhood that's not supposed to be in a neighborhood, so. But maybe we could do a better job of communicating.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any other old business?
I'd like to make a recommendation that we adjourn.
Okay, I have a adjournment recommendation. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.